I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Welcome to News du Jour. You may be wondering, why am I, Annie Bowles, here hosting this podcast? I usually start by telling people I'm a political baby. You see, my parents met working on Capitol Hill. By the time I was 2, I had been in my first political commercial and even got lost crawling around the West Wing. Don't worry, Al Gore found me. My family then moved abroad when I was 9, and I attended an international school in Brussels with kids from all over the world. And it is this type of global perspective that I also bring to our show. I graduated from American University in DC after studying political science and art history, as well as interning on both sides of Capitol Hill. I even interned down the hall from where my parents met. I'm now pursuing a professional certificate in journalism at NYU in conjunction with Rolling Stone magazine. I guess I was always that friend in the group who cared deeply about not just what was going on politically, but also globally. I often kept my own friends informed through high school and into young adulthood, so I guess I've always done a version of this show. I'm genuinely passionate about following the news, and I'm here to break it down for you guys every weekday. We always strive to be a calmer space to get your news. Or, as one listener put it, like getting your news from a well-informed bestie. I'm so glad you're here. Hey everyone, welcome back to the News du Jour. We have very exciting news for you guys. We passed House Committee. Now, this is not the same as passing the floor, but our bill was voted on in terms of like the nitty gritty of the language in the House Committee, and it passed 8-0. So again, a big fat goose egg on the other side. We had a stomach drop moment though leading up when a man who was like partially responsible for gutting the bill in its original iteration, he walked in and he's not a member of this committee. So we were like, wait, why is he here? And we were super nervous. Turns out he was introducing a different bill and he left right after that was done. So he wasn't even there when our bill was called. So while we were super nervous, let's go ahead and say our like palms were sweating. We were so nervous, but at the same time, we ended up with the best possible outcome. And now it will go to the House floor for a vote. I hope you guys are enjoying this process. It has been such an emotional roller coaster, but so far so good, and I will definitely keep you guys posted. Again, if you would like to help support this legislation, we have a petition that's linked in our show notes permanently. It's always there for you guys. It has a ton more information about the bill. Our last 3 bonus episodes have a lot to do with this bill. So if you want to learn more about it, you can listen to those really easily. Very passive way to get informed about this legislation. But we're basically following it as it moves through the Oklahoma State Legislature so that you guys can have a little more insight into how a bill gets passed into law, but also so that you guys can participate in passing this bipartisan and very important legislation. Today's episode of News du Jour is going to be super short and sweet. I really only have 2 stories to go over with you guys that are pretty succinct. And then I'm headed up to the new Mercy Hospital Women's Center. It is a brand new women's wing, and I'm so excited to hear about the new features that they're going to be, rolling out for the public that are going to help improve women's health here in Oklahoma. So if you're interested in learning more about that facility, I will be posting about that to my personal social media. As always, my Instagram handle is It's Annie Bowles. So for our first story today, a judge has sentenced Bankman-Fried. So Sam Bankman-Fried was convicted of fraud a while back, if you guys remember, and just yesterday he faced his sentencing. The judge sentenced Sam to 25 years in prison, even though he faced up to 110 years. Prosecutors were asking for like 40 to 50 years, and Sam's attorneys were asking for like 6.5. Sam is 32 now and thus will be out by 57, and he's honestly very lucky. It could have been a lot worse. If you guys remember, Bernie Madoff was sentenced to 150 years for similar crimes. Many people lost their life savings due to both Madoff and Sam Bankman-Fried. In his final statement before the judge, Sam admitted that he, quote, made a lot of mistakes, end quote, and was, quote, responsible at the end of the day, end quote, which is very true. And I do think, having some remorse and taking accountability may help him see the light of day sooner. That's just the impression I get from the work we've been doing inside prisons. Now, Oklahoma is very different. It is a really tough atmosphere when it comes to sentencing and parole here. But anywho, that will go a long way. And again, it could have been a lot worse for him. And for our second and final story for today, I'm just going to keep it brief on this one, but I wanted to cover Joe Lieberman's passing. So Joe Lieberman passed away yesterday at the age of 82. If you guys remember, he was Al Gore's running mate back in the day, about 2000, and he was the first Jewish candidate on a major U.S. party ticket. He had spent 4 terms in the U.S. Senate serving on behalf of the state of Connecticut. In the 90s, Lieberman was the first major Democrat to come out and criticize Clinton for his inappropriate sexual relationship with then-intern Monica Lewinsky. He was eventually outcast from his own party after supporting the war in Iraq, endorsing McCain for president in 2008, and similar moves. His family just recently announced his passing, and they said it was due to complications from a fall. We are thinking of all those affected by this loss and wishing him a peaceful rest. And that is the news du jour. Again, if you guys are interested in learning more about the new Mercy Hospital Women's Center, I would love to show you guys around via Instagram stories. I'm going to be highlighting some of the new features there. As you guys know, women's health is super important to me. Being that I have a chronic illness, I also had a 33-hour labor with several different complications with my son. So women's health in general is something that I'm really focused on in my own personal life, but also when it comes to policy and when it comes to, access. So I can't wait to showcase this facility on my Instagram, and I hope to take you guys along with me. Again, my Instagram handle is It's Annie Bowles. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with a quote. Listen to the silence and let your soul play catch up. Happy Easter weekend, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review on that platform or a shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us to be able to keep creating the news du jour and reach more people who need a calmer space to consume the news. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/Sugar-Free Media, and that is also linked in our show notes. You can follow us on social media at newsdujour.podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. You can follow my personal account at It's Annie Bowles on both platforms as well. Any little noises you may hear in the background are my rescue pup. He has a little separation anxiety and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from Oklahoma.